kind of like, you're crushing my dream for a little bit. But you're not. You're just trying to understand how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I think when someone rebuttals you, it's because they care. Hello, beautiful humans. My name is AleMor, and we have a very special thank you to Manor House for having us here in this amazing podcast. We're going to be talking about our creative endeavors. We're going to be talking about our music. We're talking about just all sorts of different obstacles that life has thrown our way that we have overcome very gracefully. And a very beautiful human that has done this throughout his life. I'm actually very lucky to call him my husband and the love of my life. And he is here with us, and his name is Wizzmer. So if you want to introduce yourself, my love.
That's a beautiful introduction. I had the dream, right, of building an amazing life, and I had the feeling right from the beginning. Like the first day, I understood that this was the right place to be at. Like getting married is one thing that I didn't think it was possible for me because I don't know, like I didn't feel it, you know. Even though I had some kind of approaches before, with you everything was different. So that's one of the things that I didn't thought was possible, you know. And it's been a beautiful surprise in my life, and I've been creating the life of my dreams. But there's also stuff like that have been added to that dream, you know what I mean? Staying completely in Miami, for example, falling in love with Miami and creating all this community around the music and around us has been a special journey. So that's what I was thinking about when you were introducing, like, wow, what a journey.
It has been a journey, and I think one of your most powerful characteristics is that you're a leader, but you're also a little bit of a rebel, right? Because you left your home country when you were how old?
Wow, 27.
27, yeah. Right? Which you already had a life established there.
Yeah.
You were very financially stable there.
Yeah.
And you were running a business that has nothing to do with music, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But even before you moved out of the country, you had this moment where you told your mom that you were going to drop out of school.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Do you want to tell us about that story?
Yeah, that was way before. I was learning how to live by living, right? And questioning little by little each part of my life. And one big chunk of it was studying electronic engineering.
Engineering, yeah.
And it took me a while because, I mean, everybody told me you have to, you know, I understand you like music, but you should
study something safe.
Yeah, yes. and I get that, but it's not in me, you know what I mean? And it's, for me, music has been everything. It has been my way of living, even though I manage it as a business, and now I have the structure and everything. But back then, my mom helped me to see it that way because I was just in love with the music, and she was pushing me to, you know, to see it as a business, to make a living out of it. And,
right.
And that was the most, gave her more concerns, was the way that I couldn't make a living out of it, and I was struggling with money. And I remember playing on the weekend and then calling my mom one day, Mom, can you send me some money? She was, but you told me you were playing.
Why? Yeah.
The weekend. Are you not making money? So that challenged me. I was challenging myself in a way, like questioning, is it, well, how do I do this? Because I really want to do music. I need to make a living. My mom is right. So leaving the college was hard, was a difficult decision, especially because I was kind of disappointing my mom, but at the same time, it was the most free...
Liberating.
Yeah, liberating move, because I felt like, wow, yes, I can do whatever I want. And yeah, that hasn't been that hasn't been your case, right?
No, it hasn't been the case for me. My parents were very supportive of my artistic career since I was very young. And even though I didn't feel very happy when we first moved to the United States because I was younger, and when you're 11 or 12, everything is just weird as it is. And I didn't know how to speak English when we moved here, and it was a tough transition. But today, I am so grateful to them for making that move, as difficult as it was, because the value that is given to the arts in this country is rare in other countries. And there's no such thing as like a magnet program in music when you're in middle school, when you're younger. That doesn't, you would have to go to a conservatory outside of school, right? This is something that was integrated into the everyday education here. And I was lucky enough to be exposed to that when I was young, you know, and my parents supported that from the beginning, and they would go to all of my performances and would drive me to all the rehearsals, and my mom actually taught me how to do my makeup in the car because we would because I would have to change.
Important skills.
Yes, very important skills. I had to change into my choir outfit in the car and do my makeup and my hair, and it was such a beautiful experience to have them be supportive of that. And I did hear friends that had their parents tell them that they had to figure out a career that was safer or that was financially stable, right?
That's the story of many, of course.
Yeah, but I didn't have to do that. And there's been a couple of times where my parents have told me, hey, maybe you should look into something different, you know, but not anything, they're not imposing anything. It was just kind of a suggestion. And then when I say no, and this is what I want to focus on, then, you know, they're doing their job as parents, right? They have to guide us in the best way they can.
I believe my mom was doing the same.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a single mom, and my dad was a musician, and he was so irresponsible.
Yeah.
And we already went through therapy and healed everything, but yeah, I'm a son of, I'm a sibling of 14. So that's a big number for a father.
Yeah.
It was a complicated, you know, situation back then, and I understood my mom. I said, okay, I see it. How do I show you that that's not my way? I'm not gonna do it like that. So don't worry about it. But I want to do music, you know, because my story at some point was kind of like the Miguel in Coco, the movie, right? I was watching the movie and said, wow, that's me. As you say, it wasn't that push, but still she was worried about it. And at the end, my brother ended being also a musician. He's a flute player.
An amazing flute player.
Amazing flute player. But I remember, and I'm bringing him on the story because I remember I was living with my brother in a different city, and my mom came to visit us. Right? She wasn't still into the idea of us making music, but we were already making music together, and we had a little quartet: percussion, cello, flute, and cuatro. The sound was so beautiful and so warming. And I remember my mom came to visit us, and we went to the house of a friend just to do like a serenade. And we had dinner, and then we started playing. Everybody around, the grandma, the mother of my friend, everybody, they were so in love with the music that we were playing. And my mom was like, what's going on, right? And I remember driving back home that night, and she said, wow, what you guys do is magic. That was the first twist in her. And I was like, right? That's what I'm talking about, Mom. Like, we're doing something different. And now she goes to every performance and concert, my brother or mine, just the proudest mom. It's beautiful to heal that relationship like that. You know, it's also special. So
I can only imagine what happened within her when she walked on the red carpet for your Latin Grammy nomination.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine going from, no, you can't, like, you're not going to be a musician, to going to that first concert and thinking, wow, what they're doing is magic, to then being your date on the red carpet because you've been nominated for a Latin Grammy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's special.
Yeah.
It's very special.
It definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, I'm so grateful for you and for all the team, all the beautiful humans that have been part of this journey. Because when I saw that nomination, for me was the result of the work that everybody put on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made me feel like, wow, it should be for all of the people that participated, not just the director.
Right.
Right? It feels like kind of unfair for others.
Mm-hmm.
I understand and I get it and I appreciate it. I have nothing but gratitude for them, for everybody that made us, be there. Even the music. I remember talking to Juan Carlos Perez Soto, the producer of the album, and telling him, dude, this is possible because of your work and everything you did. So yeah, that Latin Grammy has been. I mean, it's unbelievable that my first Latin Grammy nomination has been as a director, even though my main thing is
as a video music. Director. Yeah. There's a very interesting question here. It says, was there ever a time where you considered giving up on music?
No, but back in Venezuela when I had my business, as you said at the beginning, I was doing good. I was doing well with my business, and I was growing up. And I thought, well, maybe I can be just the guy that has a business somewhere and
does music on the side.
Yeah, like do music sometimes, and I have the money. I hire the musicians, and I pay for the studio. I record my music, but I don't make a living out of it. I have my business, and I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thought that I had in Venezuela, because it's hard to live, out of just music in a country in Latin America. It's complicated. Mm-hmm. So I was doing my business. I was doing very well, and I remember a friend telling me, he was the first person that gave me a couch in
the US?
In Miami. Yeah, and he told me, you haven't been to a place where people appreciate music as they do in the United States. You have to come to Miami. So he convinced me, because I told him, no, I want to do business. I'm doing well with business, and I think this should be better. And he said, Wiz, you have no idea. Come and play your music here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big change in my life.
Yeah.
That was the only moment I thought about not doing music, because I wasn't thinking about giving up music, but in a way,
I feel like there was a moment in my 20s where I gave up on music.
Oh, wow.
Or at least I gave up on pursuing it as a serious career. And I thought that I had to do what you were doing. I thought that I had to have a business that would generate some kind of revenue for me to be able to do my music on the side whenever I had time. And I remember working at a retail store and standing for a very long time one night. And then when I went to clock out, my feet were hurting so much. And I was not happy with my job, and I was not happy with the way that my life was developing. And I remember thinking to myself that if my feet were gonna hurt, that couldn't be the reason. It would have to be because I was dancing all night, or because I wore the wrong heels to the red carpet. That happened to one of our friends, actually. It was a bad thing that happened.
It's still a bad pain, but it's not as bad as...
It's not as bad as that one, because that's like a pain that comes from your soul, where you're just not happy with what you're doing. And after that day, I clocked out, I went home, and I wrote my 2 weeks notice. And I came back the next day, and I told my boss that I was gonna leave in 2 weeks. And I didn't have another job. I was just done, and I wanted to be able to pursue something that made me fire up inside, and music does that for me. It makes me feel more alive than ever.
That's beautiful. And people think sometimes that this is just a musician's or artistic thing, but that's what entrepreneurs do all the time. They jump into a pool of
unknown.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, and let's go for it. And they invest everything, and they get into debt, and they still bet on themselves.
Yeah.
And that's how you see people building empires,
I mean, your job is to find a job.
Yeah, at some point.
That's funny.
And I think that is important, the mentality of business in every aspect of our life, because we're always negotiating. We are, as a couple, we negotiate what we want to have for dinner, you know what I mean? It's a negotiation, it's a selling, but I want a burger, but you want a salad, but you convince me because, you know, the way you sell me the idea. It's a business, and it's important to understand that.
Right.
In the music, specifically this business, if we don't do the business is gonna does us. You know what I mean? I don't know if that I'm saying it right, but
right.
You can correct me. But
what you're saying is I'm
translating from Spanish.
The business can't do you. You have to do the business.
Exactly.
Which is also very weird the way that I'm saying it, but it's okay.
No, yeah, you have to take care of the business, and in a way, because music, you're making money with music. If you don't know the way, if someone is making the money, you just have to go and
find it. Yeah.
Find your money and get it in any way, like streaming or your performance and your merch or whatever. It's important to understand that this is a business, and we can play any role we want. You can play the background, you can play, I'm just gonna be a musician, I'm just gonna get paid to perform, and that's it. That's great, but it's important that you understand that it's a decision and you're playing a role into that big system, big business.
Right.
It has been my mindset, even unconsciously. Now I know that I have that mentality.
Right.
But I was always like, no, why are you doing this? And where's the money? And you have to pay me this? You know, like understanding the business in a way that I could take care of myself.
Right.
And my band and my crew.
I want to talk about the boundaries that as musicians we break when we move from one country to another and we are exposed to different kinds of music. Right? So I remember the first time I ever heard R&B in my life, and I thought it was amazing, and I wanted to hear more of it, right? And you've told me about the first time that you listened to Bruno Mars, and you didn't know who he was, right? It's a superpower to be exposed from such a young age, because we were born in a different country, to be exposed to different genres, and then moving to another one and being exposed to all of the other ones and being able to just like blend them together, without losing our first identity. But there is a way that this question is worded where it says still staying true to your roots. So it says, how do you both approach blending genres while still staying true to your roots? And I wanted to maybe answer this in a very unconventional way, because I think that your roots are where you are. You know, you can develop roots wherever you are, and your home is where you are, right? And I'm one to think that you should treat it as such. Just because I'm not from here doesn't mean that I don't take care of this city the way that I would take care of my home city, right? And thinking that way, I think, allows you to blend the genres in an even more unapologetic way, because you're not seeing it as something different. You're seeing it as something that is all a part of you, right? And you are the channel that releases that fusion of the genres. That's my opinion, but I want to know yours.
It's a beautiful way to see it. I think the identity is whatever you are, and you've been doing while you're alive. You know, I've been doing all this, and I've been living all this in all these places, and I miss Venezuela or Amazonas as hard as I miss Barquisimeto or Buenos Aires or Montevideo or Sao Paulo or New York now, you know. And I feel that I've been in Miami enough to say I'm from Miami, and I feel that I'm from Miami.
Right.
This is my city now, this is home. I bring all this information from all these countries. It's not just Venezuela, it's not just Amazonas. There's a lot of music in me, from Barquisimeto, from Caracas, from now Colombia, you know. I have it now in my system. It's getting into my DNA, and whenever I play, it shows. It's there. You can listen to whatever I write. And I remember I wrote a balada, and a friend, Pepe, he says like, oh, you have some salsa in there. So, well, of course I have salsa. I dance salsa. I love dancing salsa. For sure I have some phrases in clave because that's me, you know, and I can't hold it back. Even though I have a funk band and I'm playing funk, I have some Venezuelan rhythm in there, you know?
Right.
And it's hard to hide, and I don't want to hide it either. But I wouldn't say that I'm pushing it, I'm trying to stay true to myself, you know what I mean?
You're just being.
Exactly, I'm just being. That phrase for me is like trying to force it. To how do I do this R&B music, but I have to play I have to have some Venezuelan rhythm in there because I have to stay true to myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I just play it. I just do music and
Right.
be myself, and this is the way I play it. And that sounds kind of, oh yeah, maybe. But there is a lot in there. Now I play with Venezuelan musicians, and then when I play the cuatros, it sounds funky. Yeah.
Of course it sounds funky, is what I play.
Exactly.
I think it's incredible that you, once again, have been a little bit of a rebel. Right? Because you're the only one that plays your instrument the way that you do. And the Venezuelan cuatro is not meant to be played that way.
Yeah.
It's also not meant to be electric.
Yeah. It's not.
But you have an electric cuatro and you play funk and blues and R&B and all of these other genres that was not designed to be, you know, it was not designed to play that music. But here you are, and you're playing these different genres, and you are launching your own brand of cuatros.
Yeah.
And you are really doing something to make it known worldwide. To make it so that if you are a producer in, I don't know, in Kansas, that they will know that there's an instrument that sounds this way that they can include in their production.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's someone who is in Sweden and wants to have an instrument that sounds kind of like a ukulele, but not really, and they find that the cuatro is something that exists. And I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you.
It's a powerful, lasting move in the world, you know? And I know you're not doing it to make a lot of money. I know that you're doing it because you want that instrument to be available to as many people as possible.
Yeah. And also behind that motivation is just that I'm alive.
Right.
So.
Oh, we haven't even gotten into that. We're never going to finish this podcast.
Because, yeah, sometimes when we are dreaming, I dream because I woke up this morning, the day, because
we're alive.
Let's do it. Let's do more stuff. But some days I just don't want to do anything or whatever, you know. But the motivation for me, it's really important, and the motivation behind, as you said, it's not just making money. We're not making much money with that. It's not about that. Now, of course, it's a business that has to be profitable, but it's not. We're not intending to get rich with that. It's just do the business and make sure that people are gonna get a high quality instrument and the lower price possible. I'm also proud of it, and I'm so grateful for you because it's a business that we have put together.
Yeah, together.
So yeah.
Should we talk about El Jam?
Wow. Yes.
How did this jam movement started?
When I arrived to Miami in 2015, July of 2015, someone told me that there was like a musician cemetery. You shouldn't stay here if you're gonna succeed in music because there's no space for, once you're retired, you move to Miami. That was pretty much the conversation.
Right.
And I said, I don't think so. And then they said, oh, there is no live music. Well, let's create live music, you know? I was in that rebel that you said. And even I was broke. And I remember getting to this place, to Macondo Coffee in Doral. And Olga, she was the manager, and she gave me the opportunity to do something. And she said, I can just give you a percentage while you're playing because I don't have a budget. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I got $30 the first night. And I was playing with a bass player.
$15 and $15.
But I saw the opportunity, and I said, well, we can create something cool out of this. Let's keep coming. I have nothing to lose.
Right.
And I remember the message of the Maestro José Antonio Abreu, the creator of the El Sistema Orchestra, Simón Bolívar orchestras and all the system, worldwide. I remember that he shares story of building something out of
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, 10 musicians. And he said, we want to create a big orchestra. So for me, that was a kind of reminder that you could create stuff from zero, from scratch. So I said, like, okay, let's do it. And on the side, I was going to the streets, to Wingwood or, Lincoln Road to make money. Playing on the streets for tips. That was cool, though, because I was learning more music and paying attention to the people that was walking by. If someone spoke in Portuguese, I started playing bossa nova, and they reacted to it and they gave me some tips. It's a way to learn how to read the room and everything. And the street is a great teacher. But back to the jam, El Jam. We did it in Spanglish because what was it? This is Miami. Let's call it El Jam as mix of cultures and languages. So I started inviting everybody to this open mic that I had at my condo. Even the driver of my Uber driver once was a lady. This American lady took me from Miami Beach to Doral, and I told her, I do this. And she said, I used to sing. Oh, do you want to sing with me? She said, oh, but what we want to sing? I don't know. Come in the night. So she went to the...
Yes.
She went. And I remember being on stage and seeing her and telling the story. That was a fun part of it, because I was, making it like day by day and making that beautiful story, creating that story. And I remember being on stage and telling the story. Hey guys, my Uber driver ended up being a singer, and she's here and she's gonna sing with us. What about that? People were like, what? They were crazy, like a movie. It was like a movie. It became an opportunity for musicians, for new singers, new musicians, singers and writers, artists around. That they could expose their music and create networking space. So that was great. That was great. Then we ended that because that was my way to put together Los Wizzers and say, okay, guys, let's do something else. Let's put a name on the band, and then we became the house band for the Miami Heat, and all this beautiful stuff happened with Los Wizzers. I was telling you stories about Macondo. You always ask me, like, why don't you do it again? And I said, we're over jams now.
We don't have time.
Yeah, we don't have time. And then
we had too much time.
Then the quarantine came, and we started doing the jam. And that was a beautiful part, because that was a way to record everything, live sessions, and invite more musicians, and there was more exposure. And then we did the jam in Doral, and then we moved it to Wingwood. I miss that place. The old garden.
Yeah.
That was a very special place.
Yeah, it was.
Since then, El Jam has been like a brand, and also a way to give an opportunity to other musicians. And for me, it's my own opportunity to keep, getting out of the comfort zone, playing songs that I don't know, playing with musicians that I don't know. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to connect with the roots, with the new roots. And with these people that is arriving to the city, or people that I haven't been able to play because I have my band, and you have your band, and when I play with you, it's you, and when I play with Los Wizzers, it's just Los Wizzers. But having that opportunity to play with whoever, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. So I love that exists, even though we're not doing it right now because we're too busy. But I know El Jam is around, and whenever the opportunity comes, we put it together, and we know the magic is there.
For me, it will always hold a very special place in my heart, because you proposed to me on one of the episodes, and I was obviously very unaware, and I remember I sent the link to the show to my whole family and all of my friends. Like, oh, I'm gonna sing at this thing, watch it. And then they didn't know that they were watching my wedding proposal. It was really...
It was special.
It was a beautiful day. I'm never gonna forget it. I remember what I was wearing. I remember so many things, and it was such a special day. Very special day. As both creatives and life partners, how do you balance personal and professional life? Are there moments when the lines blur?
This is in the little things. It's in the little spaces that we are either on a vacation and we talk a little bit about the business, and we check the account if we receive the deposit from a client or whatever, you know, but we are
on vacations.
When we are on a working trip and we take a moment to have a date.
Right.
And separating, like, clearly understanding. Now it's hard to explain. How do you know when it's your manager talking to you, is your husband talking to you, is your friend talking to you, I see all the different roles that we have in our interaction. So I understand when it's my artist talking, or when it's my wife talking, when it's my assistant or manager or producer or
friend.
Or friend. Yeah, of course. For me, it's in the little things. That's why I don't feel bad when we're not spending Valentine's, because we have Valentine's all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How to say that? No tengo deudas. Como I don't have debts.
Oh, I don't have any debt. Yeah.
Debt. Yeah.
Yeah, with our relationship. Right.
Yeah,
you're not in debt with a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's very important to always talk about things. Even if you're talking to me as my manager or as my husband or my producer or my friend, if there's something that makes me feel uncomfortable, or if there's something that I really appreciate, because I think it should be both ways.
Of course.
It's important to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it goes so smoothly. We can both move from one role to the other without it being a big deal. I mean, granted, there are some days where I am a little bit more sensitive than others. And I think it's just the nature of being a woman. And I love it. But I do know that because our communication is so effective and it is so emotionally mature, one of the biggest reasons why we can have this type of relationship where we work together and we're also a couple.
Absolutely.
I think that's why it says here that we're the power of partnership. And I think we have a very powerful partnership.
Yes.
What's something you've learned from working together that has strengthened our relationship?
Uncomfortable conversations, yeah, for sure. I've learned how important they are, but at some point I'm in love with the uncomfortable conversations. Like, I have zero problem having uncomfortable conversations, and that has been the most
strengthening.
Yeah. And boxing.
I have learned not to take things personal.
Oh, for sure.
In our relationship. Yeah.
In any relationship.
No, but thanks to our relationship,
yeah,
I have learned. First, I noticed that was something that was happening within me and that I had to work on. And it was perfect because I could work on it in real time with a real person that I was interacting with. And like just really learning it in real time.
I admire that so much about you. The way you look at it.
Within.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. That's admirable. The way you check in first and then you express, like, oh, okay, I know this is going on, I know this is with me. I love when you say, I know it has nothing to do with you, and when it has something to do with me, you do it and you keep me accountable, but in a beautiful and lovely way. But first taking your responsibility, you know. Right. That's the emotional
maturity.
That has taught me also to do it, you know, keep it like that. I think we do great job managing our emotions, and not just as individuals, which is most important, but also as a couple. I love that.
I love you.
I love you too.
When creative differences arise, how do you handle them? I think those are the spiciest conversations.
Absolutely, but it has nothing to do with the relationship.
No.
It is creative, and it's normal.
Yeah.
And it's in that moment, it's important to understand when it's important to give up, and when it's. I mean, I only stick to an idea when I know that's a great idea, and that if we don't do it that way, it could put in danger
the career
or the project, the video, the shooting we're doing. Guys, listen, we have to do it this way. And sometimes when we have time and there's nothing to lose, and I know my idea maybe is not the best one, I say, well, you guys do it, or let me know what you need me to do, or that's different. But definitely, but I think those type of conversations, creative conversations, that and you said the spicy ones.
There's the spicier ones, yeah.
I have them with Sammy, with Roy, with Theo, with, I know, it's creative.
I think any creative argument between two artists can be, I mean, not it doesn't get to a point where you're fighting, but you are defending a point.
Yeah.
And it is a creative point, which means that it's a subjective point, which means that there are no absolute truths about anything.
Yes.
It's not like this is paper and then you're like, well, no, it's actually you could say this. You could say that it's a tree because it is a tree, but it came from a tree. But you know what I'm saying? It's not, because art is so subjective. It is very difficult to have a definitive answer to anything that has to do with that. So you're defending your point, and maybe it's a conceptual point, maybe it's a practical point, maybe, and usually that's what happens.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the conceptual and beautiful creativity about it, and you're thinking like, no, it doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. We can't pay for that. Like these are the things that we talk about. But and it sometimes it happens the other way, where you're the one dreaming and thinking about this amazing project that you want to do, and I'm like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's put our feet on the ground and see what it is that we can do with
fantastic.
what we have. And I think that's when we kind of, at least for me, it's kind of like, you're crushing my dream for a little bit. But you're not. You're just trying to understand how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I think when someone rebuttals you, it's because they care.
Absolutely.
And because they want it to happen, they're just trying to understand how to make it happen, right? And trying to understand their role in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes, I love this conversation. This is so cool. Thank you, Manor House, for inspiring us to have this conversation. You want to tell me about what's next? Oh, this is going to be a crazy year. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're doing.
I'm working on the new album of Los Wizards, which is so exciting. After everything we have achieved together, and especially in your career, it is fantastic to use our tools and our, everything we have built so far, now to bring those wizards up, because it's a project that deserves to be up there and for people to know more about it.
Yep.
I'm very happy that now Theo is part of the band. Theo Buck is a new member of Los Wizards, which is a funky band, my band. And we have the Jamaican singer Roy G, the Venezuelan rapper Sammy Hawk, and now the Italian singer with this rhythm section, Rafael, Joseph, and I, playing drums, bass, and the cuatro, which is, it's a cool project. But now having these beautiful songs that you helped to write, the whole writing process has been...
Oh, it's my favorite.
Oh my God, I love it. And now getting into the studio to record all this, it's also beautiful. I love each process, each part of the process, because it's a big process. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I want to go on tour with Los Wizards, a US tour. We're planning a US tour for the summer. And yeah, I'm enjoying this moment very much.
Good. So
yeah, that's like the main thing that's going on, besides the cuatro that now are for sale at Walt Grace Vintage in Wynwood. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm so grateful to be alive.
Okay, now here it says that you have to ask me the same question.
Say the question again.
No,
what's next?
What's next? Yeah.
What's next for you?
So, Beautiful Humans is a lot of things, right? Beautiful Humans started as the way that I would refer to the people that are following what I'm doing and listening to what I'm saying and listening to my music and connecting with
Your
my
fandom,
music.
pretty much.
My fandom. I think it's weird to call it fans, but that's why I like to call it Beautiful Humans. It started as that, becomes an album, then becomes a documentary, and then it becomes a podcast. And now there's like a line of merch that's going to be launched very soon, properly. I feel like I have to listen to the universe with this, because that album gave both of us, as a couple, as musicians, and as a company, so many beautiful blessings, right? It gave us a Latin Grammy nomination, it gave us a Grammy nomination, and then the documentary gave us another Latin Grammy nomination, and I know that that's only one reflection of what it has given us, but it has given our team so many different opportunities to be able to apply for an O1 visa to come into this country and to create their art here. You know, there's so many benefits to it. And I really wanted to be able to include that connection with everybody. And that's why I'm working on the translations of the songs.
Nice.
So I want to, I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen this way, but I want to be able to have a live recording of these songs in English, because the language asks for a different kind of groove and a different kind of vibe, and I want to honor that. And I can't wait for all of my friends that are already supporting the album that don't speak Spanish, that are connecting, to also connect in the lyric level.
Of course.
You know, I'm just excited for that. I'm excited. And then there's new music coming out, of course, because we can't stop. But yeah, Beautiful Humans translations are coming, and the second season of the Beautiful Humans podcast is coming, and you know, and just I'm just excited. I'm excited about our life, and I think we make each other's lives more beautiful.
Absolutely. You're my favorite beautiful human.
You're my favorite beautiful human. What do you both envision for Wizzmor Inc. in the long term?
Keep doing beautiful stuff. I mean, is that I see the long term in life, but at the same time, we gotta, you know,
Live today.
Exactly. So of course we have plans. We have become the company that can support other artists.
Yes.
And we can, you know, create the foundation, the Beautiful Humans Foundation, and that way to support and help. And of course, I see us as a production house, creating more music and more beautiful opportunities for others. But right now, we're doing well.
We're doing the thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring musicians or creatives based on your own journey, what would it be?
Work on the business mentality.
Work on business mentality. I would say, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Wow, that's a better one. Love it.
Asking for help is a very powerful thing to do. So do it. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're done.
Yeah. High five. Thank you so much for watching us.
Thank you.
And thank you for staying all the way till the end. I know we talked a lot, but that's what we do. And hopefully you got something out of it. But yeah, have a beautiful day. Bye.